Hi, I'm joining you today from Santa Cruz. By the time this video goes out, I'll actually be back home, but I wanted to go ahead and do this call today, even though I'm not home. So what I wanted to talk about today is responsibility. We've talked about this before. I've talked about this before, but I wanted to explain it again, possibly in a slightly different way, because I talk to people and they don't really fully understand this. And I know that's kind of logical. It's not easy to get your mind around the concept of responsibility. So think of responsibility of two words. It's a response ability, so our ability to respond. A lot of people think of the word responsibility in terms of fault. It's someone's fault. It's our fault that something happened. So we don't want to take responsibility for it. Or it's not our fault that something happens, so we don't want to take responsibility for it. So let's think of some examples. A big example these days is the Ukraine war. Now, clearly it's not our individual fault that the war is happening, right? That is, I would say, Putin's fault. But if we take responsibility for it, we work with our ability to respond to it. So whatever we're hearing about it on the news, right? Maybe it's the violence that's happening. If we are responding to it, if we're reacting to it in some way, that reaction is inside of us. It's inside of our physical body. There's an emotional response that's happening. If we work with that response, if we use EFT, if we tap about it, or if we can grab hold of those sensations inside of us and feel them and allow them to be felt, then we are taking responsibility. Because the next time we hear a similar thing about what's happening in Ukraine, about the violence there, we're going to respond differently because we will have spent some time working on our response. So next time we won't respond as intensely. If we then work with what we do respond with, whatever it is we're feeling, if we feel that again, or if we tap again, then the next time, again, we will respond slightly differently. Eventually, we'll get to the place where we don't respond at all inside. We have no response. We have taken responsibility and we are at peace with what it is we hear. Now, of course, there's other aspects of the Ukraine war. So we might hear about the politics of it. And in that case, we might respond slightly differently, but it's still a response inside of us. And if we're going to take responsibility for it, we can work with that response, which is emotions or physical sensations inside of us. We can work with that response, feel it, allow it to pass through so that next time we hear about the politics of the Ukraine war, we will react slightly differently. And if we do it again and again, we will get to the place where we are at peace with the politics of it. We're not saying that we're guilty, that it's our fault that it's happening, but we are taking responsibility for what is happening. So it's not easy, obviously, to do that for bigger things in our life, but that is the work we can do, because then we can find ourselves at peace regardless of what happens. So we can take responsibility for things that happen in our everyday life. You know, we spill the milk on the floor. We can take responsibility for that. If we feel guilty or sad or angry that that happened, that again is inside of us. And we can work with that so that over time, eventually we'll get to the place we'll spill the milk and it's like, okay, that happened. Let's just carry on with life. We're at peace with it. Same thing for maybe arguments with a spouse or a partner or a family member. We can take responsibility for how we feel about it and work with that so that over time we get to a place where maybe something happens in our family and again, we're at peace with it. We can see it from a different perspective. And we can also work with those bigger things in life, the things we hear on the news, the racism, the sexism, all those isms that are happening. If we take responsibility, if we work with how we respond, now that doesn't mean suppressing. It does not mean suppressing those feelings. It means feeling, noticing, being aware of the feelings and feeling them. That is how they release. That is how we take responsibility. So hopefully you'll be able to work with that and you'll be able to get to a place of peace and imperturbability To me, that is the ultimate goal of all this inner work, is to get to a place where we can be at peace regardless of what happens around us.